There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It is cold out here, although it could be colder. I've lived in Wisconsin for a while. We're beginning our service outdoors this evening, and we will go in just a few moments. It'll all become clear soon. But as we face the setting sun, which is right there, we are celebrating the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, which will actually take place astronomically tomorrow night, around 10 a.m., actually Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. But tonight is our celebration of the winter solstice. We have a long tradition here at the Fox Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of celebrating the solstice with pagan and earth-centered rituals, stories, and practices. Yay. Tonight I am joined by the Reverend Ethan Stark, a newcomer to our community, who is also an ordained clergy person in the heathen tradition. Yeah. Ethan has been active in heathen circles and works to bring awareness and connection to his ancient, earth-centered tradition while giving it new modern life in today's complex world. I'm so grateful to have gotten the chance to work with Ethan on this service, and I reassured him that you are all an incredibly welcoming and open group to lead. So thank you for showing Ethan our hospitality. Speaking of hospitality, that is the central theme of what we are celebrating tonight. We are out here in the cold, and it is getting dark. And we want to go inside, right? We will, and we will be made all the more aware of the blessing of warmth and light and community because of our experience out here. But first we will honor the goddess Suna, the sun, as she sets for this long night and gather the last rays of her light into these candles here. This one is going to go into the sanctuary with the grown-ups, and this one is going with the children into their RE space. So Ethan is going to say a prayer of the gathering of the last light.
I'll do my best to project. Dotter mundil fara, syster mauna, kona gläns över himmelns åtlå, Hail Suna, Hail Suna. Tonight we gather your lasting light to keep safe, warm, and bright until the morning and the coming dawn, when you shall rise again, wheel turned and thus reborn. I'll do my best to light this.
After our candles are lit, we are going to process back in. We're going to sing as many times as it takes, enter, rejoice, and come in. And as you enter the sanctuary, please take a small piece of paper, a pen, and a candle. All right, let's get these lit. There you go. You might come over. Let's do it inside. Rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in. Enter, rejoice and come in. Enter, rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in.
Oh. Times now. And to rejoice and come in. And to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. And to rejoice and come in. And to rejoice and come in. And to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. And to rejoice and come in. Last time I'm doing it. And to rejoice and come in. And to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and log in to our friends joining us on Zoom on this night when we celebrate the winter solstice. Woo! We began outdoors in the cold and in the early darkness. We honored the goddess Suna by gathering her last light before this longest night of the year, when we promise that we will hold her light here in this space until she can be reborn again, we hope tomorrow. We will now light our chalice flame from that same light that we gathered outside. If you are joining us on Zoom, we invite you to light a candle or a chalice at home along with us. Please join with me in our chalice lighting words. We light this flame as a symbol of new life, enlightening our way, as a symbol of the warmth in every human heart. Let the lighting of this flame rekindle in us the inner light of hope, of peace, of love. May we share that light with all people. If you are joining us this evening from home, I invite you to be sure that you have a couple of special objects nearby so that you can participate in our rituals. The first thing you might want is a candle, which hopefully you have and just lit along with us. You'll also need a small piece of paper and a pen, and a large metal bowl or a cooking pot to be able to safely burn your paper inside. And you'll want a small cup of whatever beverage feels comforting and joyful to you. At this time, we will also light our 4 Advent candles for the season of waiting for Christmas, which is almost here.
Greetings. We're so glad to welcome you to the Fox Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship this afternoon. I'm Tony Salsic, member of the Partner Churches Committee, and I am a coming-of-age mentor. I have been a member here for 21 years. If this is your first time visiting the fellowship, I want to extend a very special welcome to you. When Jane and I, along with our 2 children, moved to Appleton in 1995, we were looking for a spiritual home for our family. Jane had read about this place in the newspaper, so I went to a service to see what it was like. I was happy to find a small but energetic community that was encouraging, open, and thoughtful practices for spiritual growth. We have made many lifelong friends here. Our Director of Congregational Life, Marie Luna, would love to help you get connected here. Feel free to chat with her after the service or send her an email. It's now time to settle in, take a deep breath, become aware of your body, whoever you are, wherever you are. Allow yourself to come into this sanctuary so we can be fully present in this time together.
Thank you, Tony. We are gathered together in this space this afternoon and online from home, and we want to take a moment to greet each other. So if you're joining by Zoom, in a moment we will show you on our screen here, so I invite you to turn your camera on so we can see your beautiful face and wave to you. But first, we're going to show everyone at home you. So kind of turn toward the center and wave, and they can see you. Yay, we're so happy to see you at home. And then now we're going to see everybody at home. Hi, everybody at home. Oh, come on, turn your cameras on, people. Hi. All right. Thank you all. We're so happy to see you and to be in this space, whether it is from home or physically here together. I wrote our responsive call to gather for this afternoon's special service, and when I indicate like this, I invite you to say, "We gather the light." Let's say that together. We gather the light. The cold air bites at us, sometimes playful, sometimes vicious. The darkness envelops the world. It sometimes seems that it will never retreat. We gather the light. The ancients knew the cycle of light and dark would continue just as we know today, but sometimes it can feel like a risk, a possibility that it might cease altogether. We gather the light. Will the sun be reborn? Can we revel in the darkness? Can we be in joyful celebration through this long night? We gather the light. The light we guard, the hearth we tend, gives warmth to each of us, safe for the moment, wrapped in community, surrounded by love. We gather the light. Tonight we will partake in a horn hallowing ritual, which is a horn filled with libation and consecrated before the gods and ancestors. Later, we will all have the opportunity to enjoy the libation as a symbol of our celebration in this warm and joyful hall, while the cold and dark encroaches outside. It is simply apple cider, no alcohol, so we hope that everyone will be able to participate when the time comes. In heathen tradition, a hallowed horn is considered a representation of the well of word, where all actions are recorded by the maidens of fate and woven into the fabric of the universe. Any deed or word done in the presence of the filled horn should be done with care.
Æsir og vanir, helgi þennan drykk svor mei blessa þá sem honum deila. Æsir and vanir, make this drink holy so that it may bless those who share it.
We, as Unitarian Universalists, strive to encourage a spiritual stance of abundance, rejecting a scarcity mindset. We take this time each week as a moment of practice, of taking stock of what we have, of cultivating peace when we need to ask for support, and giving with joy whatever we are able to offer. For those of you who would appreciate some support, we are here to help. Please do not hesitate to reach out to Reverend Christina or myself if you are in need of financial or emotional support. It is a joy for us to be able to offer help on behalf of this beloved community. If you are one who is feeling stable and able to give this evening, we ask that you do so in that spirit of abundance. Today's offering is a very special collection. Remember how we began our service outside in the cold, and then we were able to come inside to the warmth of our beloved building. Heat in our building, heat in our homes. It's a luxury that can be so easily taken for granted by those with the resources to do so. And yet, as we face the cold of the coming winter months, there are many families who find themselves without those resources. That's why our offering today is a special collection for the Keep Wisconsin Warm Fund of Energy Services Incorporated. By partnering with local services like Levin, this fund is able to keep heat and power on for thousands of Wisconsin families in crisis. To give to the Keep Wisconsin Warm Fund, if you are here in our sanctuary, we welcome you to come to one of the offering baskets that our ushers are holding in the back of the room. If you are writing a check, please note Keep Wisconsin Warm Fund on the memo line of your check. If you would like an usher to come to you, feel free to raise your hand and they will do so. And anyone can also donate online or via our text to give function on a smartphone. When you do so, please follow the instructions in your order of service or on the slide in order to indicate that your donation is for the Keep Wisconsin Warm Fund. Thank you. Your gifts are deeply appreciated.
Our settling song is number 55, Dark of Winter. Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly, and then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal, gentle darkness, soft and still, bring your quiet to me. Darkness, soothe my weary eyes, that I may see more clearly. When my heart with sorrow cries, comfort and caress me, and then my soul may hear a voice, a still small voice of love eternal. Darkness, when my fears arise, let your peace flow through me.
Natten går tunga fjät runt gård och stuva, kring jord som soln förlät skuggorna ruva. Drömmar med vingesus under oss sea, tänd dina vita ljus, Sankta Lucia. Troll sig då mörkermakt, ljusstupet vingar, signa springer. Drömmar med vingesus under Ossia. Tänd dina vita ljus, Sankta Lucia. Stjärnor som leda oss, vägen att finna. Bli dina klara blås, fagra prästinna. Drömmar med vingesus under Hosea. Tänd dina vita ljus, Sankta Lucia. Drömmar med vingesus under Hosea. Tänd dina vita ljus, Sankta Lucia.
Hail to the giver, a guest has come. Where shall the stranger sit? Fire he needs, who with frozen knees has come from the cold without. Food and clothes must the farer have, the man from the mountains come. Imagine yourselves in midwinter amidst the northern wilds. The wind whips violently, the snow and ice land heavily upon you, while the cold bites bitterly. The darkest part of the year is so dark that even daytime, a storm may rise and blanket the sky as if night were suddenly upon you. Truly, one cannot survive in such conditions for long without succumbing, and yet there is another terror outside. Ancient Germanic folklore speak of the Oskere, the wild hunt, a procession of spectral dead led by none other than Odin himself. This furious host is said to sweep up with its ghostly army any who are caught roaming the outdoors, adding them to the fray. All the more important to find shelter from the elements, protection both from weather and wraith. Despite the darkness surrounding us, there in the distance is a glimmer, a glow. As you draw nearer, it is a fainting flicker of flame, heralding hope. You reach the door and knock. I began this with a quote from the Havamal, or Words of the High One. The first few stanzas of this ancient Scandinavian manuscript speak on the treatment of guests. And in the often inhospitable climate of Northern Europe, hospitality was not only mere social etiquette, but it was a survival tool. A stranger having welcomed into the hall is presented with food and libation and surrounded by the warm, welcoming light of the hearth and the only true source of light and warmth in the darkest time of year at the slumber of the sun. Suna, the maiden of the sun, is thus celebrated within the home with every fireplace and every lit candle. And as we have seen in the video, is embodied anew in Santa Lucia, while retaining the same thematic struggle of light against the dark, a beacon of hospitality and welcome. How might we become beacons ourselves? How might we act as candles on windowsills? Just this Thanksgiving, a family invited another of Afghan refugees to sit at their table. Language barriers and lack of cultural relativism, none of those mattered. For the essence of the good and just virtue of hospitality became the common tongue. Perhaps in our daily lives, while encountering others of different origins, religions, and yes, differing political parties, we may choose to see humanity first and treat the other person as such. Much like those heathens of old, while opening the door to the stranger, we know not of them other than we ourselves who want those same doors open before us at times of great hardship surrounded by terrible tales. So as you return to your homes, your halls, later tonight, may the light of Suna illuminate the darkest places of home and of soul. May she melt the hardened heart, burn bitterness, sear selfishness away, that you may come together to gather in kindness and compassion.
Please join in singing 1063, Winter Solstice Chant. I'll play it through once. Children of the earth, we have come to sing to each other, sister to brother, songs of a mother earth. Children of the earth, autumn soon will breathe her last breath, and quick will her death bear witness to Mother Earth. Children of the earth, can you feel the air getting cold as darkness takes hold and sleep covers Mother Earth? Children of the earth, we have come to sit in the darkness, breathe in the silence, think of our Mother Earth.
One of the first people that I met here at the fellowship when I began as your senior minister was a woman named Marge Kepke, who sadly passed away about 2 years ago. She was an elderly woman, a long-time member here. She had the warmest smile and the sparkliest eyes. She loved to be a greeter at our front doors, and she gave amazing hugs. She had a wide range of interests, and she made us all feel special when we talked to her. Our Fox Valley UU Fellowship mission statement begins with the words, "Welcome everyone." Our vision statement makes that a little clearer. It says that we will engage deeply in the challenging work of examining our own assumptions, biases, and privilege. We will reach out to each other and to the wider borderless community with radical kindness and hospitality. Marge was an embodiment of that welcome, and I hope that we can each strive to make real what we say in our vision, reaching out to each other and to the wider community with radical kindness and hospitality. Now, I grew up in a place without such harsh winters as here in Wisconsin, and certainly nothing like the ones that Ethan talked about in his reflection with the wild hunt led by the god Odin. But now that I live here, and I have experienced a few blizzards and a few polar vortexes, I can imagine the fear of the ancient people and the absolute necessity of hospitality when a stranger knocks on your door in the darkest time of winter. I can only imagine the relief someone must have felt if wandering through the snow to see lights in a window in the distance. Metaphorically speaking, our communities can be cold and harsh places sometimes. We know, because we have been told, that the Fox Valley can be unwelcoming to people of color or to LGBTQ folks, or sometimes even outright hostile or dangerous. Religious and political differences in our communities can lead to discord and strife, and some people feel isolated from family and from community. And then they find this place. Often they find our website first, and then maybe a few services online, now that that is a possibility, like a warm light in a far-off window. I've heard it time and again, and I felt it too when I first stepped into a UU congregation in my college years in North Texas. I am so glad I found you. However, the corollary to that gratitude is often something like, I had no idea you were here. Or, I'd never heard of Unitarian Universalism before. I know the first time I found a UU church, I felt overwhelmed with relief and gratitude, and then anger. Where the hell have you people been? It is wonderful that we're able to be a welcoming to those who come to our doors, to provide a warm and welcoming embrace, but it is not enough. We need to reach out to those who are still stranded in the harsh cold of the wider community, who have never heard of us. We need to overcome our anxiety about sharing Unitarian Universalism with those we have met, because we never know who needs the life-saving, open-hearted faith that comes from this place. We are in this hall, this sanctuary, on the longest, darkest night of the year already. Look how dark it is. And yet it is filled with brightness, warmth, and light. May we each carry this brightness and warmth when we leave, and may we share it with those who need it. May it be so, and amen.
Hail to the earth, she giveth to all. Hail to the alvar, the crops growing tall. Hail to the land, waits the harvest in fall. Food on the table and song in the hall. Hail to the earth, she giveth to all. Hail to the alvar, the crops growing tall. Hail to the land, waits the harvest in fall. Food on the table and song in the hall. One more. Hail to the earth, she giveth to all. Hail to the alvar, the crops growing tall. Hail to the land, waits the harvest in fall. Food on the table and song in the hall.
Part of our commitment to each other is to bring our life transitions, our happy times, and our low moments to this time together, so that our joys might be amplified and our sorrows comforted. For those of us joining in person after the service, you are welcome to place a stone in our fellowship chalice as a symbol of our loving community surrounding you supportively. Or you can join a member of our care team in the back of the sanctuary who will be offering a listening presence. For those attending virtually, you are welcome to share in the chat box whatever joy, concern, prayer request, or intention might be on your heart or on your mind. We will place a stone in our chalice now on your behalf. We now turn our attention beyond this gathered community. We allow our hearts and our minds to reach out in ever-widening circles like ripples in water. For each stone that we place in our water, we name joys and concerns in our wider world. Our first stone is for our local community, where statistics show that on average, 400 people struggle with homelessness at any given time in the Fox Valley communities, with about 30 to 60 people sleeping outdoors without shelter. As we celebrate the warmth of home and hearth, we commit ourselves to serving those who do not have such a luxury. We add another stone for the United States. This week we honor the death of prolific author, activist, poet, and cultural critic Bell Hooks. Her passing is a great loss, especially to anyone from a marginalized identity who read her words and felt their human experience validated. And as those ripples continue, we add our final stone for the wider world, a recognition of our interconnection across borders and across oceans. This week, we hold the tens of thousands of people who were displaced by the massive super typhoon Ray, also named Odette, in the Philippines. It caused major windstorms and flooding. In particular, we hold our partner church in Banay Banay in our hearts, as they were in the path of the storm and were as of yet unsure of how they've been affected, but we have reason to believe that they are all right. We enfold all who are celebrating and all who are suffering in the embrace of our hearts, and we commit ourselves to acts of compassion and justice in service to those circles beyond our own. And as we enter into this coming time of silence, we also consider our own lives and those things that we wish to let go of and leave behind in the darkness of this year, as we are renewed along with this sun. You each received a small piece of paper when we processed through the doors, and a pen as well. If you are at home, I hope you have a small piece of paper handy along with your candle and cooking pot or metal bowl. Let us all take a few moments during our time of silence to think about what it is we want to let go of from this past year and what we will burn in our ritual shortly. You can write your words on your paper if you wish.
the warmth of this hearth, this spiritual home, this beautiful community is a gift. When the world is filled with shadows and cold, both real and metaphorical, we are grateful for the safety and comfort of this place and the people who gather here. We have our table here of libation that was poured out during our horn hallowing ritual earlier, a blessing and a gift to each of us, symbolic of the feast that would take place in a hall at this time of year in other places and without a virus making it difficult. However, we are not going to partake of the libation yet. We're just going to observe that it is here symbolically. We also each have our paper that we just wrote on or considered what we want to leave behind in the old year. So if you would, in a moment when the song begins, come up to our tables in the front, and Allie, I, and Ethan will burn your paper for you. So you can choose any one of us. But there is going to be a lot of fire happening. So as you come up, don't crowd too close to these tables. If you are at home, you can carefully dip the corner of your paper into your flame and drop it into your bowl or your pot to allow it to burn up. As the light flares during this ritual, consider the light of Suna, the sun, returning soon, and all these things that we want to let go of being held in the darkness of the old year. As we hear this song, so long a tradition here at our fellowship, hearth and fire, let us come together for this ritual of light, warmth, and feasting.
And as always, you are welcome to sing along.
Sun upon your head, wind about your face, my love upon the path you tread, and upon your wandering speed.
Wide and soft the hours tonight, and all the cold outside. Peace and warmth be yours tonight, wherever you may find.
And I'll be the sun upon your head, the wind about your face, my love upon the path you tread, and upon your wandering steeds. Hearth and fire be ours tonight, and wind in the birches bare. Oh, that the wind we hear tonight would find you well and fair. And I be the sun upon your head, the wind about your face, my love upon the path you tread, and upon your wandering feet, my love upon the path
Our time together is coming to a close, which means our time to return to the world and our daily lives is beginning. Remember, there are always ways to get more connected here, both in person and online, and to live your faith more fully. Be sure to read the Weekly Scroll emailed newsletter, or let us know if you don't currently receive it. And also check out the back of your order of service for some highlights of things coming up. As we prepare to leave this gathering, we invite you to consider what you wish to take home with you. What lesson, idea, or theme that you will carry with you from this time back together back to your daily life. Our hope is that it will serve as inspiration and empowerment for the days ahead.
Typically, at the end of our service, we say together words that help us as we extinguish our flame and carry its light in our hearts. However, in honor of the winter solstice, we want to keep the light burning. It is heathen tradition to gather the light of the sun as we did this evening, and then to tend that flame throughout the night, in the hopes that the sun will be reborn again after this long, dark night. So we will not extinguish our chalice flame this evening, but we will carry its light with us. You each have a tea light and a container that you were given when you came in. We will spread the light of the goddess Suna throughout our sanctuary as our postlude song plays, and we invite you to carry it home with you, to let it burn itself out or burn until the sun returns in the morning. Of course, if it goes out on your drive home, that's fine. Just relight it when you get home. The next time you're at the fellowship, please return the glass containers so that we can use them again in the future. May the blessings of the sun continue for the year to come and warm your home and your heart. On your way out of the building this evening, please pick up a cup of the libation that we poured and blessed from the hallowed horn and enjoy it outdoors. We had hoped to partake of the drink inside this evening, but our COVID safety policy says that we cannot eat or drink in the building. So we hope that you will enjoy your celebration as you carry your light with you outside. Go in hope, carrying the light with you. Go in peace, knowing that we wait to embrace you upon your return.
better.
Yeah, it really did. I love Dark of Winter.
Tell you a wonderful story.
I love wonderful.
Ivy's dog found her.
Oh. Yeah, it's got a cool thing over
She can pull the dog was like.
Listening to Led Zeppelin.
Oh.
Coming up with a universal theory to explain the world. That's awesome.